So let's take a look at Jesus in Hebrews chapter 4. I told you, I think we talked a little bit last night about some of the product we've brought. One of them back there is the book of Hebrews that we taught. And I remember when I taught the book of Hebrews, I'm tempted to teach it again just because I've learned to slow down a little bit. I think it would take me longer than 43 messages this time to get through Hebrews. But I do remember when I did teach Hebrews, one of the major impactful things for me was that I felt like I went from a head knowledge of grace to a heart knowledge of grace in that journey. That it went from being these theological principles I was learning to being the basis of how I govern my heart and letting grace govern that. Part of the reason for that is that Hebrews is so straightforward with the legalities of Hebrew code, stacking them up next to Jesus. And all the stuff we've ever done in religion sort of ends up on the left column of here's the good way to be religious. And then here comes Jesus on the other column. And Hebrews does that over and over, just stacks those two columns. And it was easy for me to learn that way because I knew column A. You know, I'd mastered, so to speak, column A. And then here comes grace. And I had all these theological principles up here about this new column. The book of Hebrews helped me to just make that divorce final between those two columns and just to embrace. Now, part of it, though, is because the book of Hebrews makes Jesus human in a way that is unheralded. When you really dig into the meat of this book, it's showing you the human side of Jesus that I have found, quite frankly, a lot of unbelievers can get a little uncomfortable with, the human side of Jesus. Now I want you to know, I don't know that you'll find a bigger advocate in the world, in the pulpit, for making Jesus look good. I don't think you will. I try to make Jesus look as real and as good as possible, and I fall short because you can't make him look as good as he is. He's just that good. With that said, I do believe it's worth embracing the humanity of Jesus that walked right up to the edge of weaknesses, so that we can understand that because Jesus walked right up to the edge of weaknesses, he understands our weaknesses. And the book of Hebrews, very risky, in the 4th and 5th chapter of Hebrews, walks Jesus to the edge of weakness so that the reader can embrace a Jesus we don't think about very often. So I want to dig in on that Jesus a little bit and do some work with him, beginning in Hebrews chapter 4, verse 14. Seeing then, we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God. Let's hold fast our confession or our profession. Let's hold fast the fact that we have a high priest who's already done this. No matter what comes out of the next few verses, start here. Hold fast to the fact that Jesus has already done it. Now, I'm going to talk about some stuff I can't do, but I'm going to remember that I'm going to do it anchored to the fact that he can do it. So I'm going to hold fast my profession about Jesus, even when my profession about me doesn't look good. I didn't say my profession about me was wrong. I said my profession about me doesn't look good. It's right. It just doesn't look good because I'm not always doing things right. He's right. So I'm going to hold fast to him being right, and the fact that I'm not always right is okay. Can we start there? He's right. I'm not always right. That's okay. In fact, if I don't get that, I'm going to be disappointed because I'm going to do wrong. I'm going to see wrong in me, and I'm not going to understand why because I've been lying to myself that there's nothing wrong with me. How many of you realize that there is sometimes something wrong with me? Even though I'm in grace? Absolutely. I've been digging into the 7 churches in Asia in the book of Revelation, chapters 2 and 3. And the one thing that keeps popping out at me is Jesus keeps telling his church, hey, I love you. You're doing good. You're blessed. I see your works. And then he turns around and says, but I have something against you. And I think, how can Jesus have something against me if everything's right? It's because everything ain't right. He's right. He's right in me. But I want to confront the areas of my life that by confronting with my profession of who he is, I might be able to see victory over. I might be able to change. I might be able to walk into a newness of life. See, I'm supposed to be walking into a newness of life. It's not all accomplished. I'm walking into it. And so I'm walking into it because I hold fast to my confession of who he is and what he has done. So let's get that out of the way. Who is he and what's he done? He's your high priest. He's already shed his blood. All the work for your redemption is finished. All the work for your righteousness is finished. The high priest passed through the heavens, sat down next to God. There ain't even a chair in heaven. He has to sit down on the mercy seat because it's the only piece of furniture in the temple. He sits down at the place you used to be judged because His blood has decreed that there's nothing left to judge you for. Now hold fast to that profession. You start right there, you're going to be able to handle whatever it is you run up against that has your name on it.